could you please do the invocation?
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Anu. So we were doing a detailed analysis of verses 52 and 53. In fact, we covered only 2 verses last week. If you do you remember what exactly is the topic we talked about? We talked about the 2 stages of mukti. So just to reconfirm that idea, the mukti or moksha can be of 2 types on a high level. One is Jivan Mukti, the other one is Krama Mukti. Jivan Mukti is when somebody gets liberation while they are alive, is Jivan Mukti. And Krama Mukti means it is a staged Mukti. You don't have the knowledge that you are Atma at this point of time, but you have done enough practices, especially on the yoga side. You have done lot of upasanas in such a way that you are pretty much closer to the actual mukti, but not yet reached there. Such people will take the path of Krishna Gati and Shukla Gati, and they go to the Brahmaloka or a higher plane where they will be exposed to the teaching of Vedanta and they get the mukti. So that is Krama Mukti. And I told you, right, neither Krishna or nor any of the teachers' preference is Krama Mukti. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, introduce this topic only for an academic purpose. And the great Swami Vivekananda talked about this as something that is hard to understand. So he was very honest in his opinion. But Jivan Mukti is something that can be experienced here and now. And that Mukti, Jivan Mukti, when somebody gets enlightenment, it is Jivan Mukti. But the Jivan Mukta is also appears to be constrained. Appears to be constrained because of the upadhis. And that is what the verse 52 was talking. A Jivan Mukta has a body and he lives in this time and space. The scope of his transaction is pretty much limited to this time and space. What we can engage is what is imminent to him. Even though he is aware of the transcendental reality, he is not at there. He knows that I'm not the imminent, means the consciousness I experience in the imminent space. I know that I might have an existence beyond that, but at this point of time, I am in that imminent space or the relative reality or whatever is that order of reality I am in, and I'm constrained there. So that can be considered like a lucid dream. But even if it is a lucid dream, the objects available for my transaction is what are the objects available in the dream world. And everything is constrained by the time and space of the dream world, even though I know that the real me is outside of this. Such a person, once his body is, his prarabdha is over, once he leaves his body, what happens is he gets merged with the Brahman, the reality, and that is called Videha Mukti. So the Videha Mukti presupposes Jivan Mukti. So one cannot just go to the Videha Mukti directly. Of course, means Krama Mukti is a means, but Krama Mukti means once you go to the Brahmaloka, from there you go, it is a kind of a Videha Mukti. But a Jivan Mukta, once he leaves his body, he goes to the Videha Mukti. So this is what we talked about this. So you know the three path, right? Means at the time of the death, there are three possibilities. One possibility is the people who takes the Krishna Gati, that souls will come back because of their karma. The second option is you take the Shukla Gati, you go to the Brahma Loka and you get Mukti eventually. And the third option is you get the Videha Mukti at the time of death, and what is going to happen is you won't come back. These are the three different paths. Clear idea?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. So now that covers one of the topic, right? One of the major topic of Atma Bodha, the nature of the self-realization. And now we are going to understand the next topic, which is very important topic. This is very interesting, but it is not that difficult compared to what we have been saying the previous two verses. So this should be good. Okay, so the next topic is the knowing of the absolute reality, Brahman. 54 to 64 is that what the subject matter. So today we will try to cover 4 verses. So Anu, could you please chant 54 to 58 in fact?
Yeah. 54 to 58, Rajesh?
Yes, 54 to 58. In fact, 5 verses.
Yallabhanna paro labhaha yat sukhanna param sukham yat jnananna param jnanam tad brahmetyavadharayet yat drushtva na param drishyam यद्भूत्वा न पुनर्भवः यज्ञात्वा न परं ज्ञेयम् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् तिर्यगूर्ध्वमथः पूर्णम् सच्चिदानन्दमद्वयम् अनन्तं नित्यमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् अतद्व्यावृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तैर्लक्ष्यते द्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् अखण्डानन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्यस्तारतं येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनोऽखिलाः अखण्डानन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्यस्तारतं येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनोऽखिलाः.
Very good. So we will start from verse 54. Could you please chant verse 54 once again, Anu?
Sure. Yallabhanna paro labhaha yat sukhanna param sukham yat jnananna param jnanam tad brahmetyavadharayet.
Very nice. It tells Tat Brahme iti avadharaye. So that is how, means you can see at least 5 times this word comes back. Tat ब्रह्मे iti avatare. Tat brahme iti avatare. Understand or realize that this is Brahman. That tat brahma iti avatare. Realize or understand that this is the nature of the Brahman. What is the topic, by the way? The nature of Brahman. That's exactly what is explained. So the glory of the Brahman is highlighted in these verses. These verses are not very difficult. They are poetic verses, so we can relatively go faster. But try to get the gist of it, and then we can go very quickly. So he tells, Yat labhan na aparo labho. Then he tells, Yat sukhan na aparam sukham. Yat jnanan na aparam jnanam. So these are the three characteristics Shankaracharya uses. Yat labhan. What is labha?
Gain.
Gain or profit or acquisition. All these is labha. So in the relative reality, in our day-to-day life, we all get profit. Suppose you invest some money in the stock or the market. What do you get? Sometimes you get profit. Sometimes it would be big profit. So here Shankara tells, the profit you get by knowing your true nature is much greater than the profit, any other profit you make in this lifetime. It appears to be very simple. But here, what is the stock example? The stock example is always the Swapna Drishtanta. So imagine that you are in a dream. In that dream, suppose you win a lottery. With respect to that place and time, with respect to the dream space and the dream time and the dream world, is that a profit? It's a huge profit. Is that valuable? Of course it is valuable. Where it is valuable?
In dream world, in green
Only
space
in
and
the dream world. The scope of the validity of that profit is limited to where? Dream world. This time wise, it is limited to the dream world. So was it a profit? Of course it was a profit. When you have a dream, when you live in a dream, would you like to be a beggar or would you like to be a millionaire? Of course a millionaire, because otherwise the sufferings is there in the dream world also. So in that Ramayana brilliantly portrays the dream of Janaka. If anybody read the book I suggested, you can see the dream of Janaka. Janaka is having a dream where he dreamt, his dream was he lost all his kingdom. He has no money. He is completely helpless. He don't have any food. And he was just waiting in a picture place to get a little bit bowl of food. It was very painful. When he woke up, he was crying. So any profit I gain in the relative reality or illusionary reality is valid. And that is why it is called as a reality. It is not an absolute reality, but there is a temporary existence. Now, apply that logic here. Now, I live in this world. So this world where I live is conditioned by this time and space. Whether I like it or not, I have to spend some time here. And I need to transact with other people. I need to engage in action. No choice. And what would be my ideal living conditions here? I would like to get the best life possible here. For that, I need money, I need power, I need everything, health, wealth, everything. But whatever I acquire here, is that useless? Absolutely not. That is the correction. Some people with a little bit of study of Vedanta, what they tell, this world is useless. No, this world is extremely useful. So the money you earn is extremely important. But the scope of that money, let's say that I win a lottery here. And let's assume that I didn't spoil it. Typically, whoever wins the lottery, they spoil the money in a short span of time. Let's assume that I won $500 million and I didn't spoil. While I'm in the deathbed, $500 million multiplied by 2 is in the bank. But once I leave this world, is that money going to help me? So any profit I gain in this world, any loss I incur, it is only limited. So that is why it is said that yat labha na aparo labho. By gaining the knowledge that about your true nature, which is the ultimate source of happiness, the profit you are making is much larger than any other profit you make in this world. This is the meaning. It's not simply literally read and pass through. There is a meaning behind that. This is the meaning. Is it clear? Yat labha na aparo labho. So next is everything else is this pretty much same logic. Yat sukhan na aparam sukham. Pleasant experience. Somebody, when they eat a food, they get some pleasant experience. Somebody, when they go for a trip, they get pleasant experience. There are different means of getting pleasure in this world. So artha and kama are valuable, but they are limited to the order of reality you are living in. There is no scope for the artha and kama beyond the order of reality we live. So any sukha I acquire as an experience, they are limited. Because let's say that I go to Hawaii, or I got another experience. That experience again is pretty much limited to the dream world or the waking world I live. And I know that all that is temporary. So by the sukha I get by knowing the Brahman or the truth is much bigger or larger than any other sukha I get. The next one is yat jnanan na aparam jnanam. Whatever knowledge I get. So imagine that in the dream world, I started uncovering the laws of nature. Let's say that I discovered the dream law of gravity or the dream law of motion. Wonderful. That laws and that model is going to help me where? Again in the dream space and the dream time. So the laws I discover in this world, the knowledge I gain, whether it is physics or chemistry, or whether it is math or data science, whether it is artificial intelligence or grammar, it helps me absolutely fine. For what? For living in this world. It cannot go beyond that. So the knowledge I gaining by the knowledge of the Brahman is far superior than any other knowledge. So that is why he concludes, Tad Brahmeti avasathayet. So you just establish in that Brahman. So again, please note that this dream metaphor Swapna Drishtanta is the key to understand here. So the profit, any profit you make is pretty much limited to that time and space. Any sukha, pleasant experience you get is pretty much limited to that time and space. Any knowledge you gain is pretty much applicable or relevant only in that time and space. And that is what, but the knowledge of the Brahman is far superior. The experience of Brahman is far superior because it is called Akhanda Anandam. Anandam. So those who use the Chinmaya Mission book, please correct the word bliss. Wherever there is bliss, please use contentment or happiness, because bliss cannot be Anandam. It's a wrong translation. So bliss means it is an experience. But if you look at the dictionary meaning, sometimes what happens is this translations creates problems. So this Ananda, the happiness you get, not from anything outside, but knowing my own true nature. It is Akhanda Anandam. It is unlimited, unbroken happiness. So that's what the Brahma Jnana is going to help you. Any questions? Otherwise, we can go to the next verse. These verses are pretty much similar. Anu, could you chant?
Yat drushtva na param drishyam yad bhutva. Am I chanting the right one?
Yeah, you're chanting.
Yat drushtva na param drishyam yad bhutva na punarbhavaha yat jñātvā na param jñēyam tad brahmetyavadhārayet.
So the first point to be noted is Tat Brahma iti avadharayet. Same thing. So that Brahman, Tat Brahman, that Brahman iti avadhare. Realize that Brahman is of this nature. Again, 3 scenarios are discussed. Yad drishtva na aparam drishyam. Once you experience Brahman, drishtva literally means seeing, but figuratively means experiencing. Any worldly experience. The worldly experiences are good. A good sight, a good music, a good touch, a good taste, a good smell. All that is good. But the experience you gain by knowing Brahman is far superior. Again, the same reason. The reason is any other experience is pretty much limited to the space and the time. But this goes beyond the space and time. So the experience of Brahman is far superior than any other experience you gain in this world. Think about that lottery and that dream. It will be very clear. Next one is Yat Bhuktva Na Punarbhavaha. Yat, having become that. Bhuktva means, that is the literal meaning. Once you Paved means becoming. So once you become, it's a figurative use. You are never becoming Brahman because you're always Brahman. But once you know that you are Brahman, na punarbhavaha, thereafterwards there is no rebirth. Punarbhava means again, bhavaha means happening, being born. So once you know the Brahman, thereafterwards there is no rebirth. Here figuratively means once you know the, let's say that the reality of yourself in the dream, In dream, this example is not correct. Even if you have a lucid dream, you can have the dream next time. Here, thereafterwards, no more dreams for you in this particular case. So once you know your true nature as Brahman, thereafterwards, no rebirth. That is, yat bhutva na punarbhavaha. Yat jnatva na aparam jneyam. See, there is a knower, there is a process called knowing, and finally there is something called known. So by knowing Brahman, there is nothing else to be known. Kasminno vijñāte sarvamidam vijñādam bhavati. Mundaka Upanishad tells. Having known which, you know everything. Remember, I was joking in the last class. When you say omniscient, a Brahmajnani is omniscient. If you ask him to speak Korean, will he speak that? No. If you quiz him about artificial intelligence, is he going to answer? No. That's not what it meant. It only means he knows his true nature. What is the most fundamental knowledge? It is knowing ourselves. If I know the entire world but fails to understand myself, what a tragedy it is. What a tragedy it is. And most of the people don't know. Forget about the reality, but even the transactional world, who they are, most of the people have no idea. And without that idea, they go after things because they think that, okay, if I get this, I'll be happy. Or if I do this, if I get rid of this, that I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy. If I go there, I'll be happy. If I eat this, I'll be happy. And I go, this verb continues in an infinite loop. But that permanent happiness never comes. Why? Because I don't know myself properly. So if you know yourself properly, there is nothing else to be known. Your life is accomplished. So that's all it means. So please don't think that by gaining enlightenment, tomorrow you will be able to speak Chinese, understand Russian, and interpret all the theory of relativity. No. That's not what it means. So, yat jnatva na aparam jneyam. Tad brahmet brahma iti avatare. Understand that. This means that is the Brahman. You need to realize that. So, three things we said. Having seen or experiencing Brahman, there is nothing else to be experienced. Having become Brahman, or once you establish in Brahman, there is no rebirth. Once you know Brahman, there is nothing else to be known. Understand that. This Brahman, this is the nature of the Brahman. And again, the subject matter of this verses is the nature of the Brahman. So please understand. So again, please understand that two orders of reality. One is the relative order. The other one is absolute order. And once you go to that absolute order of reality, there is no rebirth, and it is the most wonderful experience as per the scriptures. Any questions? Otherwise, we can go to the next verse. Let me share. Okay.
तिर्यगूर्ध्वमधः पूर्णम् सच्चिदानन्दमद्वयम् अनन्तं नित्यमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्.
Again, it's very nice verse. So he tells Tiryak Urtham Adha Purnam. What is the location of Brahman? A beautiful poetic expression is given by Shankara. He tells Left means east is Brahman, west is Brahman, north is Brahman, south is Brahman, top is Brahman, bottom is Brahman. In other words, what does that mean?
Everywhere.
Everything, everywhere it is Brahman.
Sarvam Brahmamayam, right?
Yeah, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahmam. Exactly. It's very easy to tell, but very hard to visualize. Let's go back to the Swapna Drishtanta. In the Swapna, let's say that I'm sitting in the 110th floor. When I look up, I see the sky. When I look down, I see all the building. On the side, I see all the different directions I see. Honestly speaking, what exactly I see as sky in that dream world? Think through that. What am I seeing as my sky?
Mind projected.
It's my mind stuff. What am I seeing as bottom? Again, my mind stuff. What am I seeing as east, west, north, south? All the buildings, all the people, all the plans, all the helicopters, all the elevators, everything is nothing but me, my mind. So if I take my mind away, nothing remains. You're sitting in a movie theater. I'm giving another example. Just taking away from the Swapna Drishtanta and giving another example. In the screen, you're seeing the New York City. You're seeing all the buildings. You're seeing all the cars. You're seeing helicopters flying around. You're seeing hundreds of people. You're seeing the cop stopping somebody. You're seeing the fire engines. You're hearing the sound. All the images you see on the screen. Really speaking, what exactly those images?
The screen.
Light. Yeah. Means, of course, the light reflected by the screen. But what exactly is the building? It is the light. Like that. Look around the world. I see the computer, I see my shirt, I see my hair, I see my watch, I see my pen, I see my book, I see my everything. Everything is Brahman. If you think about that dream metaphor, it is very clear. So the Ishwar, everything comes out of this Ishwara's mind. And who is Ishwara, by the way? Ishwara is nothing but Brahman. Ishwara's existence is because of Brahman. So the material cause, the intelligent cause, and the efficient cause is Brahman. So that's why when these Semitic people say when there is God, only there, what do they say? There is one God. Right? Remember, we had that long discussion in the chapter 9. We will come back and do that, like monotheistic religion, polytheistic religion, and then we invented another term, etc., etc., etc. So when they say there is only one God, we say that is correct, but with one correction. There is only God. You cannot improve upon that. And that's what I was telling in the 9th chapter. See, this teaching is going to lift my childish, immature understanding of God. I am going to take this everything as Brahman. Yes, I see the plurality around me. In a dream, I see the plurality. I see multiple objects, multiple colors, multiple things, multiple events. But really speaking, all that are nothing but my mind stuff. Like that, in this world, everything is nothing but Brahman. So that's the point. That is what he said. Tiryak urthva mada purnam. It is complete everywhere. Top, bottom, left, right, top and bottom. Everything is Brahman. And what is the nature of that Brahman? Satchidanandam Advayam. It's brilliant, right? Sat. What is Sat? Existence. So wherever you see something exist, the real existence of that object is nothing but Brahman. It's a simple example. When you see a pot, a mud pot, what is the real existence of the mud pot? It is mud. Like that, when you see the world, the names and forms are temporary, but the reality behind the names and forms are nothing but Brahman. Of course, the science is also inquiring into this. I would recommend a book, those who are scientifically minded. The book name is called Grand Design. Not sure anybody read that book. It's a book written by Stephen Hawking. I don't know whether anybody read the book, A Brief History of Time. That's a beautiful book to understand these basic physics laws. What is quantum mechanics? What is relativity, etc. Once you read this brief history of time, if you're interested and if you enjoy physics, you can read this book called Grand Design. You'll be amazed how the physicists were trying to understand the fundamental reality of the universe. So once upon a time, everybody thought that atom is the most fundamental particle. And that is how you got the name atom. Atom in Greek means what? That which cannot be divided further. But we found that it can be divided. You have electron, proton, neutron. Then you have these subatomic particle. Then you have these multiple energy, etc. Finally, you have the string theory. See, it's very hard to understand this string theory. They say that everything comes from a 10-dimensional string. So, but still, another 50 years, they will say that that comes from something else. So what we are saying is that theoretically, assume that X is the most foundational particle. In our scriptures, we call it as the fabric of the creation. That is what is the Sat. And here we say that that is Brahman. That is what it is. So Sat, but is that Brahman inert and insentient? Because Sat gives an indirect implication of matter. And matter is typically inert and insentient. To negate that idea, in the same breath, it is said that it is Chit. Chit means it is consciousness. Those who speak Hindi, please differentiate between Chit and Chitta. Chitta is mind. To be very specific, the memory component of your mind. Whereas Chit is consciousness. So there is a difference. So, because I heard a lot of Hindi speaking people, for Chitta they use Chit, which is wrong. So Chitta is different from Chit. And this here it is Chit. And then it is Ananda. Ananda means it is the usually translated as bliss, which is not correct, because It is not an object. Bliss means typically it is an experience. This is not an experience. This is Brahmanandam is not gained by knowing an object. Brahmanandam, you cannot find Brahman outside, but you can realize that you are Brahman. So that's why the usage of the word bliss is not appropriate here. So this Brahman, which is the fundamental reality of the universe, it is Satchidananda. Where is that? Satchidanandam Advayam. What is Advayam? Not two. It's only one. There is only one existence. That is why there is only one God, but there is only God. There is only Brahman, nothing else. There is nothing second. There is nothing second. Advayam. That is the word. Then Satchidanandam Advayam, Anandam, Nityam, Ekam, Yat. These are the characteristics of Brahman. Anandam means what? Infinity.
Infinite.
Yeah. It's brilliantly defined. Again, I said, brilliantly defined the infinity. One of the best definitions of infinity is found in Vedanta. Even better than the contours definition. It is Desha Kala Vastu Parichinna. That is the definition given in the Upanishads. Desha, it is not limited by space. Kala, it is not limited by time. Vastu, objectivity, it is not limited by space, time, or objectivity. It is truly infinite. Again, I refer a talk by Swami Sarvapriyananda. That talk is called God Defined. He talks about this a lot in that talk. So you can listen to that talk for more. But it is Anandam Nityam. Nityam means what? It's always there. In the past, it was there. Any cycle after cycle, the cycles will come and go. The world will come and go. The sun and the moon and the stars will come and go. The human beings will come and go. Civilization will come and go. But there is no change for Brahman. It's Nityam. And then Ekam. Again, there is only one. Earlier it said Advayam, not two. Ekam eva Advayam. One and non-dually one. Shankara later in Upanishads commentary, he tells why always it is said that Ekam eva Advitiyam. He tells there is only one human being, but in that human being there are different parts. The hand is different from leg, which is different from face. But in Brahman, there is no heterogeneous components. There is only one Brahman, and top to bottom, it's only one. Satchitanandam. Ekam yat tad brahmeti avasadhet. Again, brilliant verses, very scientific, lifts our maturity of understanding of God. That's what that is. So once again, it said Tiryak Urthva Mada Purnam Satchidananda Madvayam Anandam Nityam Evam Yat Tad Brahmeti Avasadhet. So top, bottom, in all direction, whatever that is seen is Brahman. And the nature of that Brahman is Satchidananda and non-dual. And it is Anantam, it is infinite, it is Nityam, it is eternal, and it is Ekam, it's one. And understand that that is the nature of Brahman. Again, beautiful verses. So let's go to 57. Anu, could you chant?
अतद्यावृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तैर्लक्ष्यते द्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तत्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्.
Okay, beautiful. Now, how do I know this Brahman? That's an interesting question. So he tells, Atat Vyapriti Rupena. Atat means not this. Vyavriti Rupena means by the process of elimination. So in Vedanta, there is a methodology called Neti Neti. You all might have heard that. Na iti, not this, not this. That is the methodology. Let's come back and discuss that. So, Atat Vyapriti Rupena, by the process of elimination, Vedandai Lakshyate Advayam. So, Vedanta, through the using Vedanta as a Lakshya, like as an indicative knowledge, the Vedanta is going to reveal this truth. And then he tells, Ananda Advayam Ananda Anandam Edat. Tad Brahmeti iti avadharayet. Now, how to teach about Brahman? He tells, not directly, because you cannot comprehend Brahman in words in your description. So what do? You do a process of elimination. So you show the world and say that this is not Brahman. You show something else. All these known objects you will show, and you will say that that is not Brahman. Brahman is much beyond that. So that is the only way of learning Brahman. And then using the teaching of the Vedanta as a Lakshya. So here the verses we saw is the verses of Vedanta as a Lakshya. And then with that Lakshya, the teaching of the Vedanta, you will get exposed to that Brahman, which is Advayam, the same word we used earlier. Non-dual, Akhandam. It is not separate or not not parts. And then Anandam, infinite happiness, Ekam, one. So with the teaching of the, means by showing all the worldly objects and saying that that is not Brahman, and then using the teachings of the Vedanta, you are pointing to that direction. So this is time to come back to this Arundhati Nakshatra Nyaya or Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. So I think I know you asked the question, and I was getting a lot of questions in WhatsApp. What is this Arundhati Nakshatra Nyaya? I think Bhunaji explained it, but people missed it.
But I only explained it in the Laukikam way.
Yeah.
I
So
remember I was telling you
question.
that I needed the proper explanation. I said it's very good.
Let's do that explanation, because since we got that whole question. So this Arundhati Nakshatra refers to a particular star in this Bear group of stars. And this star has a particular peculiarity. It is a dual star. If you use a telescope and look at this star, in fact, you will see two stars in that. And these two stars are symbolically, it is the belief is that these two stars were Arundhati and her husband Vasishta. So this Vasishta and Arundhati were considered as one of the most ideal couple in our culture, because they had extreme happiness and they prospered together, and both of them spiritually also advanced a lot. This Arundhati also was a great teacher. In fact, this Arundhati is the daughter of Devahuti. You know who is Devahuti? The famous mother of Kapila Maharshi. Have you heard of Maharshi Kapila? So this Maharshi Kapila, who is famous for Kapil Gita, he's the one who gives the teaching to his mother Devahuti. And this Arundhati's sister is Anasuya, right? Atri and Anasuya, yeah. So Anasuya is her sister. And this Arundhati and Vasishta lived a long life. And finally, they both were positioned as a star. So if you look at this particular star, it is symbolically, you can see, not symbolically, you can practically see it's a twin star. They are together, even eternally together. So when you conduct a marriage in some part of the India, as part of that ritual, the priest or the person who conducts this marriage takes this couple outside as part of the marriage ritual and show them this star. The belief is that symbolically, it means we are wishing or we are praying that you both stay together always, not just live together, right? You stay together with an active and engaging relationship and a divine relationship, a relationship that grows, and a relationship mutually respecting, and a relationship where the whole world is benefited from that relationship. So may you become like that. It's a wonderful ritual. Now the problem is what? The star is not a bright star. So the person who takes you out, how does he shows you this Arundhati Nakshatra? Is he will first show a star, and then he will say that star is not Arundhati. Then he will ask, okay, did you see that groups of stars? That is not Arundhati. From there, move further. It is symbolically equated to a Vedantic inquiry. So what exactly he does? Neti, right? First he shows that nakshatra and say that is not Arundhati. Not this. Then show something else. Not this. Then show something else. Not this. Finally, you come to Arundhati. Like that. The Vedantic teacher shows you everything. The world, your body, your mind, your intellect, everything is exposed. Show that you are not that. You are not that. So you follow different teaching methodology. The Panchakosha, the Shariratraya, the Avastatraya, all these things will be taught. Drigdrishya Viveka, everything is saying, you are not the Drishya, you are the subject. So it follows a same style of logic. And this logic is known as Arundhati Nakshatra or Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. You're pointing something by negating a lot of stuff, and then relatively you're showing something to the other. This is what is Arundhati Nakshatra. And what I was asked in the text was explain the symbolic, means ritualistic meaning. I think Bhunaji, you already explained that. But this is what at least I understand. Bhunaji, you want to add anything more there? This is the ritual, right? What I explained is the ritual.
Yes. Can you just rewind a little bit and say from the Vedantic, he's telling that there is no stars there out there, right? Neti. This is not Arundhati, he is telling. And then after that, what is he saying exactly?
Okay, so you cannot directly show the Arundhati Nakshatra.
Correct.
So why? It is not obviously visible.
Okay.
The brighter stars are the obviously easily visible stars.
Yes, Dhruva stars, they always say
exactly.
Dhruva is the brightest one.
So from a Vedantic perspective, what is by default in front of you, what you see naturally What comes to you naturally, that is not Atma.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right? So you point out what is obviously visible and you negate it.
Okay. So, I'm very curious to find out from a priest about this. I know I know for the weddings, they only compare it with the, ideal couple. That's the only meaning it's given. Like, okay, you need to be like an ideal couple like Vasishthar and Arundhati.
Correct.
But that is
That's
correct.
what the ritual is, because
Correct.
the ritual is also beautiful, because you're wishing this couple that you both be like Arundhati and Vasishta.
Correct.
Arundhati and Vasishta are considered as ideal couple.
So in reality, when you talk about from the Vedantic point of view, what you see is not exactly what you see.
What you see, what is obviously you're seeing, is not what you are seeking. Because
what you're seeking. Okay.
Yeah, what you're seeking is Arundhati Nakshatra.
Correct.
But the nakshatra that comes to your eyes and the first glance is not Arundhati Nakshatra.
It's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Now, this is very popular Nyaya.
Very nice. So from where did you get this information?
It's Shankara's explanation.
Shankara's explanation.
Yeah. Nothing is mine. It's Shankara.
Thank you.
Okay, but I like the ritual also. The ritual is beautiful. Wish every couple is like that. If they grow together, if they learn together, if they serve together.
Correct.
That's
there is one more couple which is being mentioned in Tamil literature, which is Vasugi and Thiruvalluvar. Thiruvalluvar, who wrote the 1330 hymns, right, on this, about how to lead a life. So he and his wife were like that. She served. When the saying goes like, if he calls, if she's drawing water from the well, she will leave the bucket and the bucket will stay, because she's Satya Satyavati, like that. She used to follow whatever her husband says. That's what it is.
Yeah, but there is a means one thing I would say is, when you say, most of the times in our culture, it is misinterpreted that an ideal wife is exactly what the husband, the one who does what the husband tells. That is not the case.
Correct.
The ideal wife is, you see,
one who helps him, one who also helps him.
Yeah,
and
it is called
supports him.
Sahadharmani. That is the literal definition. Because otherwise it is a male chauvinism, or a, Dayananda Swamiji used to say, right? What marriage does to a person, he used to make a joke. Saraswati becomes Saraswati Ramakrishna. What happens? She becomes an adjective of Ramakrishna. What a life. And he jokes, sometimes what happens, the Ramakrishnan becomes the adjective. And he used to say that if the former is a tragedy, the latter is a disaster. So it is not that one should be just...
No, it was showing, it was meant for Pativrata Tanam. Those days they used to talk about all the ladies who followed certain things.
But again, what I'm telling you is misinterpretation, right?
Correct.
So it is called Sahadharmani. It means the one, literally it means, let's look at the word meaning itself. The one who helps the other person to follow dharma is Sahadharmani. It's very important. Sahadharmani, the one who helps you to follow the path of dharma. The path of dharma is not just do what I say. Very interesting.
I think she was also like that.
Yeah, of course.
She helped him.
Thiruvalluvar's wife is exactly, they both were mutually supporting.
Mutually, yes.
Yeah. So one should be complementary to the other. And it is said that Shiva is incomplete without Shakti. Shakti is incomplete without Shiva. So nothing is less, nothing is more. Both together makes it beautiful. So, and some, I'm just telling this because yesterday only I was talking to a male here, and his viewpoint was his wife should obey exactly what he said.
Those days are gone.
Yeah, no, that is wrong. And he thinks that that is Pativrata. And I was just explaining what is Sagadharmani and what is this. And I was even quoting this Arundhati and Vasishta. Sometimes you may have to, it's not blindly obeying everybody. And even Rama, right? Rama, the other day I was listening to a talk. Somebody said, Father said, Rama obeyed. No. That's not the case. Rama followed the dharma. So if you really look at Ramayana, if Dasharatha had granted the boons after Rama's Pattabhishekam, Rama would have taken a different stand. Because before that, Dasharatha was the king, he was obeying the king's rule. But after that, what happens? The Gauna Dharma and the Mukhya Dharma, Ramayana has a brilliant discussion. Every person at any point of time has multiple roles to play and multiple dharma to follow. The good example given by Vasishta to Rama is, let's say that the son of a teacher is attending the teacher's class. Outside the class, inside the class, this particular teacher has two dharma. One is the dharma of a teacher, the dharma of a father. But within so there is a Mukhya Dharma and there is a Gauna Dharma. While the class is going on, the Mukhya Dharma is a teacher and Gauna Dharma is a father. Whereas outside the class, the Mukhya Dharma is a father, the Gauna Dharma is a teacher. So when the Gauna Dharma contradicts with Mukhya Dharma, you are supposed to follow the Mukhya Dharma. So Rama as a king versus Rama as a husband. Mukhya Dharma is what? King. Otherwise, he should have resigned it. So that's where when Rama as a son versus Rama as a king, the Mukhya Dharma is a king. But before the Pattabhishekam, his dharma was a son. So it's not blindly obeying somebody. So always follow the dharma. That is the basic teachings of the Vedic scriptures. These are all misinterpretations. Some fathers expect sons to follow or the daughters to follow blindly what they say. Some husbands expect wives to follow exactly like that. Those are not the ideals in front of us. The ideal is follow dharma. At the end of Mahabharata, Vyasa lifts his hands and fold his hands and tells, so therefore I'm begging you, follow dharma, because dharmo rachati rachitaha. Those who protect dharma will be protected by the same dharma, for sure. And by the way, what is dharma? Dharma is not religion. Dharma is the natural order of the universe, or the basic rules that sustains the universe. Dharyate iti dharma. Okay, so we can stop here. We covered 4 verses. We will continue from next week, but we were elaborating the characteristics of Brahman, the reality. These are brilliant teachings, and these teachings can help us to improve our understanding of God, get out of this childish notion of God. So we'll continue our discussion on chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. Probably the most brilliant exposition of God is given in that chapter 9, from verse 4 to 9. Excellent. And please understand these 2 orders of reality and continue. And Sunday we will start chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. Parallel. Okay, so Bhuvanaji, if you could chant.
Yeah. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank